Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, the podcast in which we celebrate and discuss the film Raiders of the Lost Ark 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor from IamTomTaylor.com.
I'm Pete Mummert from PeteRemembers.com.
I'm Gerry Porter.
And I'm Kevin Maher from the Kevin Geeks Out Show.
Welcome back, Kevin. It's good to have you back.
Good to be back.
Back in the desert. Back in a weird map room. In minute 52. Minute 52 begins with Indy descending into the map room, and it ends with him dusting off what I guess you would call the map room interface.
And any one of us could start this minute off because I know we all absolutely love the classic, fantastic, ancient, omnipotent God Bible rumpus theme that they all that just always. And I was thinking about this, and I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the theme that was actually played when the Israelites were carrying around the ark. It's so good and so powerful that, I don't know, that would be the wrath of God right there.
I feel like you've said the word rumpus so many times on this show so far, and I'm
It's
never
gonna
totally
be the-
sure why.
It's going to be the whole week.
Okay. That's fine. But no, I agree completely. This music is incredible. I guess it's considered the Ark theme, technically. But then the way it goes, like if you listen to I'm going to go home and listen to the record right now. If you listen to the soundtrack, it goes from this to the scenes of Sallah outside the map room. And he's got that kind of military kind of almost like Mission Impossible, kind of like, you know, something serious is going on, you know, our plan is going awry, but we're working at it kind of theme. And just going between the two of those so perfectly is kind of incredible.
The other thing that's really significant at the start of this minute is in the previous minute, Indy dropped the 7-foot-long staff into the hole in the roof. Right. And now we're going to see where it turns out, because it could have been like it could have impaled someone. There could have been someone down there who got killed. You could have had like an invisible swordsman situation for you Three Amigos fans, where an important person might have gotten killed. Because one of the things I noticed, going back to this film as an adult, Indy kills a lot of people.
He does.
The last time I watched it, my count was 11, which, just to put it into a larger perspective, 11 murders is more than Jason Voorhees commits in Friday the 13th Part 2.
Wow.
So that's a big body count, but not in this minute. This is a murder-free minute, so let's all take a minute to enjoy that.
He's just doing his job here.
Doing his job.
Doing what an archaeologist
getting lowered on a rope, doing some archaeology.
Yeah.
Well, and apparently archaeology, you need like a man purse. Mm-hmm. Because all of a sudden he shows up with a man purse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he kind of always has that, doesn't he? Isn't that part of his Indiana Jones costume? He's got that sort of satchel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or a man purse.
Good place to put, a little notebook, a pencil, maybe a compass.
Yeah.
Maybe half a chocolate bar.
A flask of water.
Yeah. Paper clip.
Sure. Your
staff
scout rule book.
Staff of Ra.
Yeah, collapsible staff of Ra. That's one thing I have to say. Like, he's coming down the rope, and I said like way back towards the beginning that I think I could have done the walking on the tiles and not getting hit by darts thing a lot better than Indy. I know I couldn't go down this rope better than Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford for that matter. I don't think I've ever, I'm going to admit something. I don't think I've ever in my life climbed or descended a rope successfully. I know I was asked too many times in gym class and it just didn't work out. So congratulations, Indy. You're better than me.
Well, I mean, if you did, it would be like you'd be doing the ESPN minute right now.
Exactly, yeah. You call that climbing a rope?
It's like the Joe Namath minute.
You
But
climb
even-
like an archaeologist, you egghead.
Even equally impressive as the climb or the descent down the rope is the landing. That he doesn't just have to get off of the rope, but he has to respect that this is thousands of years old. I mean, this dates back to what, 830 BC, something in there, 980
I think
BC.
982, I think.
Okay, so he's very respective of in his dismount. He's very respective of the space that he's in. That he doesn't leap off of it and then cause a crumble in the surface, which would have been a disaster.
Well, speaking of crumbles, what exactly is that pile of blocks? Is that from...
Was
like
that the roof?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it? Because it
Or
doesn't
was that
seem
a
like it. It doesn't...
spiral stairway that collapsed?
Oh, maybe, yeah. That used to block the hole and make it useless. It would block the sun coming out. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like, there's like a whole corner to the map room that we never quite see. And,
That's the gift shop.
yeah, exactly.
The staff makes a hell of a loud clank
Yeah.
when it lands. You know, he puts it down and you hear it's like clank, and then he gets down there. You're like, oh, the whole ground is sand.
Yeah. Well, it's sand, it's a thin layer of sand over stone.
Yeah, but it sounds like you dropped it on a cafeteria floor.
Yeah. It also sounds like it sounds like it lands flat on the ground, but then when he picks it up right here, it's like leaning, like somebody placed it there for him it's like leaning on the wall, like, waiting for him.
See, here's the thing. I think as the theme in here, I think God's kind of pulling for him.
Aw.
Yeah,
Nice of God.
I think God's kind of pulling for him, and that might be just the little things to let him know, along kind of like the little Hansel and Gretel. He has respect for it, sort of.
I don't know.
Although I think the Hansel and Gretel thing is apt because, Kevin, you talked about the staff being 7 feet tall, which it looks like the filming staff was, but it seems like from the calculations, the staff is actually 5 feet tall, which makes Indy this a tiny little man in here.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Again, that's probably just what happens when that music comes on.
And speaking of cute, I just can't get over how adorable the panorama is. This tiny little stone city is a work of mad genius. Somebody put a lot. I'm not saying the obviously the art direction of the movie, but in the world of the film, I really like the design of the map. I mean, we've been hearing about it since very early on in the movie when the government guys came to talk to Indy. We've been hearing about this map room, and now we're actually there. It does not disappoint.
No, not at all.
No.
It's very
I don't
cool.
I don't know if you guys have ever made it out to the Queens Museum in New York, but they have a panorama of the 5 boroughs of New York City that was built for the 1964 World's Fair. And when you walk into that room, it's enormous. You walk around it. There's like a glass walkway so you can go over it and look at the different parts of the city. So this is kind of the this is the Tanis version of that.
That's awesome.
It's got like two beautiful obelisks, like one in front and one in back.
Which we'll see later.
Yeah.
I have 2 excellent questions. Is there, in this miniature of the city, a miniature of the map room?
Wow.
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
And following that question, related to that question, what is the purpose of the map room?
Yeah, I was thinking we'd talk about that next minute.
We could save it if you want to.
I've got 2 though answers I would give. I think the map room might be when you're looking kind of over Indy's shoulder into the map room, right in front of that main temple, there's kind of a little hill that looks sort of like the hill they're on, and they measure.
Okay.
Like if you notice, there's a measuring tape laid out, and it's from the top of that hill. So that makes me think that hill is the map room.
Oh, that's an excellent point.
Yeah.
That could be.
But then I was also wondering, like, just from an archaeological standpoint, what would the map room, like, why would they have made a room to tell somebody where to find something they wanted to
Yeah.
keep secret? But it looks like he just stole somebody's tomb, because the walls of the map room have sort of the standard Egyptian mythology iconography that are in Egyptian tombs, of like the guy being led into the underworld and going to see Osiris. And it was common, like the Egyptians would often bury things in the tomb with the people that they wanted to take with them into the afterlife.
Sure.
So it's like Shishak was like, "Oh, I'm taking the whole town."
You can take it with you. That's interesting because I guess what I'm wondering, like, the map room makes sense if the city has been buried in a sandstorm for a whole year and is now gone, and you have to find where the buildings are. But if you're in Tanis in 980 BC, and like you can see where everything is, like I'm having a hard time figuring out why you would need this elaborate thing. I mean, was it a secret to the people living there that the Ark of the Covenant was in the Well of Souls?
Well, see, this is a big question. First, you're like, who built the map room? Shishak. So Shishak built the map room, and he built the map room so you'd find the Well of the Souls. You're like, but that was all before it was wiped clean by the wrath of God. So you're like, so was the Well of the Souls just an open place that you could go to? Exactly. Why would you hide it? Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Like, did the Well of Souls, did that building exist before he brought the Ark back?
And was it like a palace or?
Although the Well of Souls is guarded by, I mean, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but it's guarded by those giant dog-headed statues.
Mm-hmm.
And that in Egyptian mythology, that guy's Anubis, and he's sort of the god of the underworld, and he was like the protector of graves. So it would make me think that if he's at the entrance to that, which is above, that's meant to be an underground grave or tomb of some sort.
Okay.
But then you're thinking, so Shishak is actually respectful of the Ark's power. Because he's, it sounds like he's like, okay, maybe I've bitten off more than I can chew on this business. And I need to put it like, and you think of the urban planning that went into this.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, whoever, like the urban planner of Tanis, you're like, okay, we have the Well of the Souls, and then Shishak's like, this thing, this thing has a lot of power, maybe even more than what we need to make a really nice place. Actually, maybe we need to bury it. And we need to put, some gargoyle Anubis. It shouldn't be disturbed.
Yeah, but then why make this elaborate map room that shows you exactly where it is if you do it right? Like, who did he want to find it later on? The Shishak doesn't make sense to me. I'm angry now.
Or was this some jerk that came along and was like, "Oh, I'm going to put a map here, so someone's going to take this guy's ark"?
Yeah, I'll just tell him it's a cute little miniature of the city for him to visit with his kids, when really it's a special map room that'll totally fake him out and let everybody know where his prized possession is.
Well, and then you can see him, like, after it's wiped clean by the wrath of God, and Shishak is up there talking to Yahweh, and he's like, I put it in a respectful place. Like, it was the nicest place we had in the city, man.
I stole it really, really well. I stole it as well as I could.
Yeah.
Although if he hid it in the Well of the Souls, it's almost like he's saying he's going to take the Hebrew God with him to the afterlife.
Well, pharaohs were big with hubris.
It's like
God, I love you, Pete. That's so.
It's like the ultimate appropriation. It's like, oh well, I'm going to take your God with me when I die.
Psych.
Maybe that's why it was wiped clean.
Yeah,
Oh, because it was the sin of pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Take that, Tanis.
Interesting.
Well, back outside the map room, we get the other awesome music, the kind of sort of military planning music going on, and the two Germans are harassing Sallah. I'm going to ask this every time German is spoken in this movie, but are they actually saying anything, Pete?
Yes.
Okay,
And they're
that's incredible.
harassing him. Like when I watched this when I was younger, I always sort of assumed they were mad at him for being up there.
Yeah, I still do until you're about whatever your next sentence is going to totally change my life.
Well, because the guy's saying, "Hey, what are you doing there? What are you doing with that rope?" And then he's like, "Come on, come down, come over here, quick." And there's actually a deleted scene here that explains it.
Really?
Yeah, which I thought was fascinating because it makes a lot more sense. Is if you look down at the bottom of the hill, there's a truck that's kind of stuck in the sand, and there's another truck behind it,
Mm-hmm.
and they want Salah's rope to tow the truck out of the sand.
Wow.
And so there's a deleted scene with that, and then Salah's when he's racing around the camp at breakfast time, he's looking for another rope since they took his.
Well,
Oh
I
my
can
gosh.
definitely understand why that was deleted.
Yeah.
Well, and it actually turns out that it's a even weirder reason that they did delete it is Spielberg wanted a bunch of smoke in the background for some reason, and they created the smoke by burning a bunch of tires. But some guy threw too many tires on the pile, and there was too much smoke, and the background was too dark.
Oh, I've seen that. I've seen the behind the scenes stuff of that, and like he's all excited about the way they filmed it and everything. It was a great scene, hey. And then like I guess the director of photography or somebody's like, "There's way too much smoke. We're never going to be able to. You're not going to see anything on the film." He's like, "All right, moving along. Next scene." I
Yeah.
can't spend all day on this. Darn it.
But you will see some burning tires in either the next minute or the one after that I think is probably a tangential shot to this.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And then Sallah does that spill. He just like rolls down the hill.
Now, I watched this a couple of times. I was trying to understand that spill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be too sympathetic towards the officer who's harassing him.
Right.
But the guy does not shove him.
No, that's true. I don't
I'm
think he does.
trying to understand because there's a book by a children's author, Daniel Pinkwater, and there's characters. I think it's in the Snark Out Boys book where it talks about snarking out, and I think that's the book where there's a kid who he's constantly like walking into a classroom and falling on purpose, and it's a way to just undermine authority, to be clumsy, and to make a spectacle of yourself. But I don't think he's doing that because he's not going to want to call attention to himself. That doesn't.
I always thought it was something close to that it's sort of like just sort of playing dumb to sort of like disappear a little bit. Like
So that
like,
they don't think he's up to anything because
I couldn't possibly be planning or being up to anything because I'm tripping down
I'm
a
a
hill.
clumsy idiot. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I thought he's, you're like, he's a little bit stressed because they have to get to the map room on time. And obviously they can't be seen. They sort of, shirk up there and he's like, okay. And he drops Indy drops the staff in and Salah's kind of,
Yeah.
he's he's uncomfortable. And then you start getting what I thought was, getting yelled at by Nazis. And you're like, it's like 8:55 in the morning. You're in the desert, and then they start throwing that guttural at you.
What did Gerry just say, Pete?
Well, what's funny is you were asking if the guy was really speaking German, and the one guy is, but the other guy is doing exactly what Gerry did.
Oh,
Like,
that's
I think
awesome.
Spielberg would just like act like you're speaking German, and the guy's just going, "Oh, achaka, achaka," like he's just taking guttural
Why
sounds.
would they? Okay, see, I've grown up assuming that all the German is gibberish in this movie. That they're just like, who cares? Just say German sounding stuff because it's an American movie. Who cares? There are no German speakers in America. They're not going to notice. But like, why would you have a guy who speaks German and then have another guy just speaking gibberish? Like, why couldn't? Hey, could you feed me a couple of German? I'm in the scene for about 5 seconds. I bet I could maybe memorize 5 seconds of German if you just teach it to me phonetically right now.
Well, you just make it up. It's just guttural. Unstacken.
I guess so.
Yeah, it's
And
the
then-
old
but
Sid Caesar.
Exactly. Why do you think it's Sid Caesar?
I just figured Sallah was exhausted.
Yeah.
And he starts to kind of, it's like, it's not even 9 and I'm getting screamed at and spat at with all his guttural business.
Well, speaking
and then
of,
he trips, he just kind of rolls down. He's like, yeah, screw it.
yeah. But we're talking about the time and everything, and I'm realizing the thing to do would have been to drop Indy off, let him go down there, help him down with the rope, and then not hang out next to the opening and not be that conspicuous. Because if he has a watch, he'll know when Indy's done. He'll know like when it's after 9 o'clock, and that that's exactly when Indy will be done in the map room. I don't know. This movie's garbage. Why can't they figure this stuff out? It only took me 40 years.
It's a great role. I'm gonna do that the next time somebody's asking me to do something I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I did
just
admire
down.
that Davies is doing his own stunts.
Yeah. They had to do that 20
is not a stunt
times.
man taking the fall. How old is he here?
Oh, that's a great question. There's no way to find out.
He's in his 30s. He was born in 44.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. So
I buy that.
No
awesome
spring
in this
chicken,
movie.
but he's still young enough to take a tumble.
I bet I could have rolled down a sandy hill in my 30s. Not going to try it now. Get all sandy. I don't need that. Well, I say we come back tomorrow for minute 53 because we're still going to be in the map room. Salah's still going to be hanging out with Nazis, and we'll see what happens. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Pete, if people want to not wait for minute 53 and they're just champing at the bit and they want to share their thoughts and feelings about all this, where can they do that?
Come join us on Facebook. Feel free to write to us in your best fake German. Look us up at Indiana Jones Minute on Facebook or at indianajonesminute.com.
We have listeners who are correcting us on like English pronunciations and stuff. And I'm sure the more German gets into here, I know that there's going to be some listeners saying, guys. But yes, come back tomorrow for minute 53 of Raiders of the Lost Ark here on the Indiana Jones Minute. What's the Eisgenbauen Skybendaven? I can't be the only one. Somebody else do it. You bastard.